Yep, done it. Park it. Look after them. original 911 shape still in there.
Absolutely, the heritage. You remember back in the early 80s, it was.
Right, hopefully people can hear me. Good evening, good afternoon, and good night. Oh, it's off a film somewhere. Right. Sort the audio levels on here. I think that's fine. Can everyone hear me? Just put in the chat if you can't hear me. If you can, then all good. But yeah, so starting off this one, we're just going to finalize this film we've got here, and we're just going to make sure everything looks good, just everything's in the right place, and then we're going to go on to a bit of color grading, which is a really nice process. It's an art in itself. So we're going to battery. Yeah, so it's color grading, just trying to get it right. So what we're going to do is we're going to do some color corrections. So these are all overexposed. Let's make it bigger. So yeah, it's all this is all overexposed, probably a bit bright. So we're going to look into these, like some of these images, and just make them all match, and then see where we can get. So these are all right. So yeah, just say get all these looking all nice, and then once we've got all the colours how we want, we'll go to a colour grade where we'll put our kind of like my stamp on it, maybe make it a bit surfy, so kind of like a California look, maybe the way I might go. But I guess we can see where I got up to. Is this even on? Oh, look, enable clip, yeah. Doesn't look like I've got any sound, does it? Audio output. Well, I'll stick some sound on. Bear with me a second while I just we're going to need total, we'll get rid of. Okay, I'm back. Right, you should be able to hear me now. Bear with me. Just put that default. Hopefully that should work. There's a really bad feedback at the moment. Let's pull that down. So apologies if this hurts your ears, everything. Right. Okay, so is that better, guys? Can you hear everything? If you could just let me know, I can. I don't have to mess with any more settings. You can put in the chat. Probably put the input a bit more. There we go. Right. So yeah, that all looks okay. That looks good. Just probably need to put a couple more transitions in here or there, but we can get to that. We can do some cross dissolves. Cross dissolves are always nice. I don't really self what some of these look like. A smooth cut isn't really smooth, but okay. I'll get rid of that because that looks pants. I reckon we can put something there. So we could do that to a black. So how's everyone? Yeah, put it in the chat and I guess let's get the chat going. Let's have a bit of a communication and a bit of a talk. So rather than me sitting and chatting shit all night, it'll be good to, if anyone could say hi. How's your week? Have you got Rona? What tier are you currently sitting in? Are you tier 3, tier 2, or are you lucky enough being tier 1? In the meanwhile, we shall just put some of these on here just to get this. I probably need to do a couple of bits to this. Let's close this gap a little bit. Okay, right, so we're not listening to that all day. Right, we'll come back to this. So, 15 minutes in, I suppose we can get into the grading and I can try to explain a bit of colour grading and how it works and what you do and the steps, etc. If you want to know any questions, say pop them in the chat and I'll try my best to answer any questions I can. just need to. I'm back in 2 seconds. Got the comfy joggers on because I'm old and I like comfort. Okay, right. Apologies for that. I'm just trying to bother people to come and watch my live. I'm back now. Right. So to get to the color grading, we just have to go onto the color tab here, which should take us to all this scary stuff here. It's a little bit different in Davinci than it is in Adobe. It's taken me quite a while to get used to this, but overall, this is a better color grading tool. These are so much more like fine tuned, and just the way all this is set up is just a lot better. So what we'll do here, well, first we'll label this and do this correction. Got any questions? No questions. Anyone got a question on color grading? Anything at all? I can explain why we do correction first, and before color grading, what is color grading, etc. Oh, I've lost the viewer. That's sad. Still got the brew. So scares me when I've got no viewers. Okay, for the benefit of the stream, we'll just continue anyway. And we're back. I don't know why it went down to 0 subs, or if you ever left at all. I don't know. Yeah, never mind. Okay, so right, we'll just use this. Let's add another. exposure. Let me add a node. Right, so with this one, what we'll do is you have 3 wheels. So you have left, which is your shadows, and gain as highlights. So the first things first is what I tend to do is get this little color picker here, and we can add, so you get a little temperature thing here, and that'll adjust the temperature for, it'll just alter the white balance and the temperature, so bring it so it's correct. So if we put that on there, that's made this a little bit blue, but we can still change this anyway, so it's no biggie. As we can come down here, we can see the temperature is set low, so we can still put that, make that a bit warmer. But so what we can do here is, as you can see how this moves. So this is just adjusting the shadows. So what we tend to have here is a histogram, or I normally try to vectorscope, or are we parade? No, we'll get there in the end, guys. So waveform's pretty good. Oh, because that's auto. You don't want to do that. We got that. Set that, and then we can come to the temperature, drop that down a bit. Maybe we can bring that to about there. So what you can see here is, up here, this is where your highlights are. So if they're reaching the top, it means your highlights are blown out. And if you hit 0 down this way, you means your shadows are, say, there's no detail in the shadows. So you need to get that right. So anywhere in between sort of 1 and 128 and 896 right here is where you want to be. That's a nice little middle ground. So what we can do is say we can just lift these shadows, make sure these are in a good place, which, yeah, that seems fine. We can go to gain, and as I said, gain is the highlights, so make sure they aren't. So I think we're good there. Hi, Mom. What do you want to know? Explain what? I can explain it as idiot-proof as you can, or I'll try. You've always got a fan when you've got your mum watching the stream. So what I'm doing here is I'm just color grading, so I'm trying to get, I'm just correcting the image so it looks correct. Nothing's blown out, no details less than the shadows all here. All the blacks are correct and all the white, exposure, temperature, etc. So this is basically your start procedure when you go into grading. And you just pick an image and you go along these and you'll just correct these. So they all look similar, all look how you want to, and then when you've gone through that process, you'll pick one that's probably the best example, and then you can apply that to all these other clips that you've got in your timeline. Hopefully that was a good explanation. But yeah, so we'll go to, so we've got exposure here. So we're just going to, so just going to do a bit with the gamma and the offset. So let's see, let's bring that. Looks pretty good. So what we can do a side by side here. When it wants to. So what we can do here, we can do versions and original. So if it will let me come in a bit more, see if we can alter this window. Okay, so scopes. Let's bring you out. So yeah, so you can see what I've done here. So originals over here. Save this. Yeah, originals over here. This is what we've done. So you get, as I make changes. Oh, this is the what we've done. That's the original. So we just need to make sure this looks a little bit better. Keeping an eye on them scopes here. Maybe bring the temperature a bit warmer. Bring the tint up, and then so here we can bring the highlights, drop then shadows. So this is looking a bit better now. This is what we want to see. So yeah, so I'm quite happy with that. So these are getting a little bit blown out, so I think we might need to lift that up a bit more. Yeah, we just need to play around with this a little bit just so we can get the I think we've got a drop. Bring them highlights up. Right. So we can bring some. So I'm quite happy with how that looks now. That's quite happy. So we've got let's change that to. We'll change that back to correction. We've got the saturation, so we don't need to touch that yet. So put that back to 50. And we got the hue, so we can change how this looks, so we can have it going all funky disco. But that normally sits at 50, and then we got the mix, and then here we've got these are the qualifiers. I don't really touch these at the moment. I'm not really 100% with them in Davinci, but another thing I tend to use a lot are these curves, just to give the image the look I want. So it's normally called an S curve. Anyone that does photography should know what an S curve is if you use Lightroom or you edit photos, etc. These just allows you to just fine tune an image. So this is Go back and forth, just making sure you've got the right. So we can move on from that because I'm pretty happy. So once we've got this, so this is another one. What we can do is with that as well, we can just we can grab still. So that'll step there, and we can use that to apply to any of these down here if we want. So you can see with this one's way overexposed. So what we can do is we can just drop the shadow slightly. Maybe. So what you do with this is you pick the brightest part of the image. So normally if it's white or it's a really bright part, I say like this. There you go. So it's quite balanced out a little bit. That's giving the look I kind of want. And I'm looking at these histogram over here. You can see the highlights. If I go this way, I'm way blown out because you can see that little white line. So we need to bring them down a bit. Bring the shadows. And that's pretty perfect there. That's kind of. And now we can just play with the highlights here, making sure we're right where we want them. Making sure the temperature's right. Tint looks good. Yeah, so I'm quite happy with how that looks. That looks pretty good. And here we say highlights midtone. So we can adjust the midtone so that sits in between the highlights and yeah, just the colours in or the where in between the highlights and the shadows. That just sorts the midtones out, which sits about here. There's the offset. So I think that's perfect. So we can move on. That looks really bright. So if we just grab the temperature, just put it on that bit. So that's made it a little bit too cool. So we can drag this, warm it up a bit. As you can probably see, it's a little bit too bright, so we just got to bring this down. So where we want. Just go along the clip, make sure it all looks pretty even. Yeah, that's fine. So we can just check what we want from it. Shadows. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that as well. So push the contrast up as well, just to make it look a little bit better. So you just got to work your way along these different parts. Just to try to give it that look you want and just correct and make sure everything so you want. So if that does, I've lost the shadows there. So with this, I just need to bring them details, and I can bring that down. So that looks perfect. That's giving me the look I want. And same with here, so we can just lift these up, lift these down. So by default, Sony cameras do make things a bit green, so we can put a little bit of magenta into them just to make it less green. So that's a sort of like the default kind of tint it puts on Sony. So back onto the gain. We can go to this shadows highlights. I'm pretty happy with how that looks. I forgot to do this. So there you go. Pasty leg. Put that there. Doesn't look that similar. That was quite a good clip. So we'll leave that temperature. I'm happy with how that temperature looks. Sort the shadows out. Bring them highlights down. And then we can contrast. Bring the contrast up a little bit just to give it a bit of a contrasty look. I think we are we're starting to get somewhere. Yeah, bring that left down. Pull them highlights out of there. Let's see, I'd start to push that a little bit further. So the tint's way too magenta, so push that here. Bring that down so that looks a bit better there. Roughly how I'd want it. So we can drop that, bring the gain. So just bringing them into this little area here, make sure they're not blown out or lost any detail. So I'm quite happy with that. That's looking, we've got all the details in the shadows here. Yeah, it's quite good that you can see the photo side by side. You can see what changes you made and see. You can also put reference photos here. So if you're trying to go for a certain look for a film, or you've got a film that you like that you want to copy off, I don't know if you want like something dark and moody, you can sort of put this in this frame here, and you can select it, and then you can sort of try to match your scene with the scene that you're trying to go off. So that's really good in that respect. So that's quite, so yeah, I'm quite happy with how that's come out. So on to the next one. So temperature's way. Bring on the Yeah, I left them shadows a bit. So you don't have to move it much. Normally, if your exposure and everything is set up within camera, then you don't really have to do much of this, which is nice. So yeah, that was pretty good. So I've just made it a little, just made it a bit warmer. Um, I've just brought some of the details back in them shadows. And a bit of contrast in there. Doesn't hurt anyone. We can lift. We've done shadows. So hopefully soon we can get into this. So what I'll do with this is I'll grab that scale, grab that still, and I can go to this one here, and this is quite useful. I can apply grade to that, so that should pick up. Change that slightly, so then make just a couple of adjustments. Here and there, just to make it look a little bit better. But all in all, I'm quite happy with how that looks. Yeah, face. Yeah, it's going to make that a bit blue. Turn that so we can. Copy with the lift on there. Put a bit of contrast into this just to make. So yeah, that's slight improvement, but doesn't need much at all. Has anyone got any more questions other than me trying to explain what I'm doing? I'm trying to keep this short and sweet to about another 15 minutes, just so I don't bore everyone. Is anyone enjoying these little series? I think maybe I can probably fit another color grading one in here because I think this is going to run over an hour, which I want to stick to. So we come back next week and sort of carry on with the color grading after we've done this correction. Let me know. Is there anything you want to see? Do you want me to go back to anything that may have been, excuse me, anything that could have been missed, or you want me to go back over? Just say, or let me know in the comments or live chat section, and I can go over that next time as some more of like a color grading, and then just finishing up answering any questions, going over any steps that I've gone through. Yeah, just let me know, and I'll try my best for next week. I think as part of this, I'm going to go for an Adobe one as well, just so if people have got Adobe or work with Premiere Pro and After Effects, I've also got one on there, so you can see how the work process is different from that. And you could on both bases. This is a free bit of software, and this is really, really good considering it's free. You're only missing a few things with the paid version, but it's very, very good. I've got no issues at all with this software, especially for it being free. Oh, and I've just got a new subscriber. Oh, thank you, Felipe. I can't see because I've got the Windows, activate Windows just a little bit over it, so. Hmm. But nonetheless, I'm grateful to have a subscriber. Is anyone else drinking tea, or am I the only loser that's sat here drinking tea at quarter to 9 again on a Friday, and it's still warm? Okay, if I can get more than 10 viewers, I promise that I'll tidy up this room, this studio, for the next and last one. It's gotta be worth something, right? Okay, so we'll just try to bring these highlights down a little bit. That's looking good. Yeah, that's kind of getting to the colour I want to get at, so I'm quite happy with that. Can we put the contrast up a bit? Yeah, I did a bit of contrast and made that look a bit nice. Still got the detail in the shadows, which is good, and it's not blowing out down here, not blowing out up here. What's the white line? The white line at the bottom. That's just a. You probably can't see it. Oh, you can. The white line at the bottom is just zero. It's not. Or you're on about this white line. Where this white line here allows you to. So highlights and shadows. So you can see moving that line as an impact. And then if we bring that one, so that alters the shadows. So you can do some real fine adjustments with this S line or S curve. So you can see that one's really broad. Those shadows are losing a little bit of detail, but we can change that because we can just alter that slightly to bring a bit more detail back. Also, that will happen. I will tidy my office by next week. I need another five more viewers to for it to happen. So if anyone can invite anyone, at least for the next 10 minutes, get 10 viewers on this live, I shall tidy my office for next week. Scouts honor and all that. So we've only got another 6 left to do. So we'll just quickly whip through these. I won't talk too much. Just quickly whip through, just try to make this as quick and painless as possible. Whoa, that's gone way too blue. Okay, so let's bring you back. Let's bring you back, and your tint's gone way too high. Okay, yeah, so we're getting there. So where's the game? So bring back some of the highlights. That's good. I'm glad I explained that. Good. So put a bit of contrast. Good. Yeah, we'll come through this and we'll do another pass on this and give this like a decent color boost. But say they're looking good. So we need to just bring that to about there. So what we need to do with this, so this is quite bright because it includes the sun. Just need to make sure that isn't too bright, which I think that's sitting quite nice. Quite nice there. Put a tiny bit of contrast in. Put it in. Okay, so there's not much difference has happened to that, but it's enough for it. I say it doesn't really need to be big changes; it just needs to be little incremental changes. So what we can do here is we can match. So this one because it's similar. Maybe that one. So we can grab that still, and we can go to here, and we can apply grade. So that's quickly, easily done that. Match that to how I want it because it's a similar style. And likewise with that one. So we can grab that still there, bring this over, and we can grab that one. We can apply grade. So we just done little changes there. So we've only got a couple more left to do, which is good. Find out just quickly sort these out. So yeah, the more detail and colour in a shot, the more you're going to have here. As you can see, when it stays on the picture. So yeah, that's good. We'll lift that up a bit. Add a bit of contrast just for that top. It's maybe a little bit too green. There we go. So yeah, we've just made it a little bit more magenta so it doesn't look as washed out. Tiny bit more contrast. So yeah, that's looking good. A couple more. So I guess what we'll do here again is we'll grab still and we can apply grade. See how that looks. Yeah, we can just slightly tweak this just to make sure it's how we want it to be. It's fine. Contrast a little bit. Okay, right, we're on the last one of this. Move that tint way down. There's a bit of contrast to it. Okay, so yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. Right, so now we've done our we don't want clap white timeline on that. Idiot. Stupid. Clip. Anyway, right, so we've done that, so we can do grade. So here we can add the grade to this, so we can just give that a label. this label. We can put that as grade. So that's the grade now. So we've done this, so we can work on that now. So for a grade, all the grade is you give it that little bit of pizzazz almost. You can put your bit of flavour on it, how you want it to look. So we can now get rid of this and we can go back to the original one. Bring that up to 25. So what I can do here is I can put my own style onto this how I want. So as I said, I want it to look like California. Fits into the kind of like the surf and the surf kind of vibe. So we can go. So with this is you have these little wheels. So as part of these little wheels, you can move these to any color. So if I drag that all the way up there, that's going to make that orange. It's going to make it blue. Going to make it pink. Going to make it green. And the way this works is it's opposites. So if you want to go for a standard Hollywood look, which is normally orange and teal, you would put your lift. So let's say your highlights would be. You can see over here, sort of like your normal RGB. So your RG, yeah, your red, green, and blue. And then if you went for your gain, you can bring that. So let's say we put that to orange, and you went for a blue. You can see that's really gone for like a Hollywood sort of your normal what you would see like Hollywood style green and orange and teal kind of look. And if I put this on here and go to original, let's zoom that in a tad, so you can see that's how you kind of put your grade on. So if I wanted to go for that kind of look, which I'm going to probably be a little bit more subtle with it, you can, but I can add a little bit of, I can take away or add a bit more saturation, so it's a little bit more saturated. But we'll leave that at 50 for now. Ooh. We're on 59 minutes, so I'll just wait and I'll probably do the rest of this next week because it'll probably take me another hour. Say this is one of the other time-consuming parts of the because you just have to really kind of just wait and get it into the how you want. And so yeah, so I'll probably put about bring these down so you don't have to go wild, so you can put a lot of orange on the sort of highlights and then bring the shadows blue. But you say you don't want them too blue or even too orange because you just look like an Oompa Loompa, so you need to. But say with the hue, you can sort of change that as well. A lot goes into this, but say saturation, bring that up a little bit, and say you can see the difference. Say blue shadows, orange highlights. So if what I want to do from there is I can grab that still. Let's quickly show you. So if I wanted to put that on here, I can grab that and I can apply grade. So you can see how that's a really sort of like orange sort of highlights, makes it look really old school kind of like if that's the vibe you want to go for, you can put a couple of effects on there as well. So I don't mind showing these another time, and say with midtones, you can just like say the part thing, you can play with them. I can't remember what midtones are, but I'll research them for next week just so I can. And so yeah, with that, so you've got your shadows, so you can put say blue shadows. Let's say make them a bit more blue. Yeah, and orange highlights, but we'll keep that like so. Put some of the detail in. Color boost. So if I want it to be a bit more kind of oversaturated or undersaturated, I can just use a color boost. So yeah, so essentially that's what we can do. So if I went back to, let's say we went to the deliver stage, you would, um, let's go back to color and get rid of this, just so we've got, so yeah, so fit that back into there. Go to deliver and you can see how, essentially how this looks with even flashy writing. So that's kind of where we're going with the kind of tone, just having that real cool like vibe of sort of California, and then that's just a normal grade. So having said that, I think I'm going to leave that there. I'm just going to save this, and thank you all for watching again, and I'll see, hopefully see you next week, so we can finish this off on the final and fifth one. So I'll just get a couple more details in order so I can explain them a little bit better next week. But yeah, essentially this is what we're going for. A nice, cool Californian vibe to the image. Maybe a couple of adjustments, and we'll take them all the way through to sort of clip 17, and hopefully we'll come out with a really cool looking film at the end of it. But yeah, I guess I will see you guys next week. Thanks for watching. Bye bye. Don't forget to sort of like this video as well if you can, and subscribe, and also tell your friends to subscribe. Comments if you enjoyed it. Just let me know. Give me some feedback, and yeah, I'll catch you next week. Bye bye. End.